You're driving in the dark, headlights off, and she just said something that should have made you hit the brakes, but you accelerated. If a woman tells you these 6 things, run before it's too late. Because the cost of ignoring these signs isn't just your time. It's your sanity being negotiated in installments you don't even realize you're paying. It's your personal power being drained drop by drop while you think you're investing in love. Today, you're going to learn how to read the road signs of relationships before you crash head-on into a wall. And more importantly, you'll understand why you've been ignoring these red flags flashing in your face. Listen, you've been programmed to believe that persistence is a virtue, that if she's being difficult, it's because you need to prove your worth, that drama is the spice of love, that you can save, fix, transform. A lie. The real mechanics are different. These phrases you're about to learn today aren't pleas for help. They are crystallized behavioral patterns that reveal her psychological structure. And when you understand this, when you name what's happening, you regain control of the situation. Because to name is to master. The forbidden truth is this: certain women use specific phrases as psychological weapons, and you are entering unarmed into a war you didn't even know you were fighting. The invisible cost isn't just emotional, it's temporal, financial, social. It's the slow erosion of your identity as you try to conform to an impossible standard to satisfy. Have you heard this before? You never really listen to me. You only think about yourself. Do you notice the absolute, the never? This is negative generalization, the first flashing red light. She takes all your efforts, throws them in the trash, and rewrites history. It doesn't matter how many times you listened, how many hours you dedicated. In her mind, you never did anything. And do you know what happens when you try to prove otherwise? You enter a spiral of justifications that only confirms, for her, that you are defensive. It's a game where the rules change every round and you always lose. Raphael was 30, an engineer, a logical mind. He met a woman who, with every argument, would blurt out, "You always do this, just like my ex, who never listened to me." Raphael spent months trying to prove he was different. He'd spend hours explaining every action, every word. He'd show old messages where he had paid attention. He'd create mental spreadsheets of all the times he had been present. Do you know what happened? He lost confidence in himself. He started questioning his own memory. Did he really not listen? Was he just like her ex? The cost was his sanity. Today he's in therapy to rebuild the self-esteem that was demolished brick by brick. Now think about how many times you've heard variations of this. You never take me seriously. You always disappoint me. You'll never change. These are stop, signs that you're interpreting as speed bumps. You slow down a little, but you stay on the same road. Wrong. It's time to make a U-turn. The second sign is even more insidious. Emotional blackmail. If you really cared, you'd come see me now, even if you're busy. Do you see the trap? She turns your love into a bargaining chip. Every time you can't meet an immediate demand, you don't love her enough. It's an auction where the price always goes up, and you can never pay enough. Your important meeting? Doesn't matter. Your family commitment? Irrelevant. Your exhaustion after 12 hours of work? Pure selfishness. And here's the psychological trick. When you give in, when you drop everything and go, she doesn't value it. Because in her mind, that was the bare minimum. It was your obligation. But when you don't go, then you've proven you don't love her. It's what we call intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes she rewards. Sometimes she punishes, and you get addicted to this emotional Russian roulette, trying to figure out which behavior will bring the reward. Spoiler, there is no pattern. It's random on purpose. That's how casinos keep people playing until they lose everything. Lucas, 42, a successful entrepreneur, built an empire from scratch. But when she said, "You're overreacting," it was nothing. You're too sensitive. He started to doubt his own perception. This is the third sign, subtle gaslighting. It's the sign that says the road ahead is safe, when in reality there's a cliff. Did she flirt with another guy in front of you? You're just insecure. Did she disappear for 3 days without explanation? You're controlling for asking where she was. Did she humiliate you in front of friends? You can't take a joke. Lucas got to the point of writing down conversations to be sure of what had happened. He recorded arguments on his phone to listen later and confirm he wasn't crazy. Imagine the level of mental deterioration required for an adult man to need proof that his reality is real. The cost? Chronic anxiety, panic attacks, a constant feeling of walking on eggshells, not knowing when the ground will give way. Are you starting to see the pattern? Each of these phrases is an attempt to invert reality, to make you question your perception, your worth, your sanity. And the most perverse part, they are said with such conviction, with such certainty, that you begin to believe. After all, if she's so sure, maybe the problem really is you. My ex always brought me flowers. You have no initiative. This is the fourth sign, unfavorable comparison. It's the sign that says you're going the wrong way when you're actually on the right track. She takes an isolated aspect of a previous relationship, probably romanticized and distorted by memory, and uses it as a yardstick to measure you. And no matter what you do, the yardstick will always show you're falling short. The ex brought flowers? You bring flowers too, but his were prettier, more expensive, more frequent. You plan a romantic dinner? The ex took her to Paris. You're present every day? The ex was more affectionate. It's a game where the imaginary opponent always wins because the rules are written on the spot, custom made for you to lose. And there's something even more insidious happening here. When she compares you to her ex, she's doing two things simultaneously. First, she's diminishing you, obviously. But second, and this is the real poison, she's training you to compete with a ghost. You start to mold your behavior based on what you imagine the ex did. You become a poorly made copy of someone who probably didn't even exist the way she describes. You lose your authenticity, trying to be someone else. The fifth sign is the most seductive for men with a savior complex. My life is a drama. I attract problems. That's why I'm difficult to deal with. This is the aura of drama and exclusivity. It's the sign that says danger, sharp curve. But you read it as an exciting adventure. She presents herself as an enigma to be solved, a challenge to be overcome. And you, thinking you're special, that you're different, that you'll be the guy who finally understands her, dive headfirst into the chaos. Tiago, 23, a medical student, a bright future ahead. He met a girl who kept repeating that no one understood her, that she was too complex, too intense for normal relationships. Tiago saw this as a mission. He was going to be the guy who would finally understand, who would heal her wounds. He dedicated every free minute to solving her dramas. Family problem? He mediated. Fight with friends? He advised. Existential crisis at 3 in the morning? He answered the phone. Do you know what happened? He failed 3 subjects, lost his scholarship. His friends drifted away because he never had time. And in the end, after sucking all his energy, she broke up with him, saying he wasn't deep enough to understand her complexity. The cost? 2 years of his life, $30,000 in lost tuition, and a depression that took another year to overcome. Now the 6th and most toxic sign. I got fired again. My boss is out to get me. People are just jealous. Chronic victimization. It's the sign that says dead end, but you insist on entering, thinking you'll find a secret passage. Nothing is ever her fault. The universe conspires against her. Everyone is a villain in her story except herself. This pattern is particularly dangerous because it appeals to your protective instinct. You want to be the hero who saves her from a cruel world. But think, if all jobs went wrong, all friendships ended badly, all exes were terrible, what's the common denominator? And more importantly, how long until you become another villain in her narrative? Chronic victimization is a black hole of energy. No matter how much support you give, how much you try to help, it's never enough. Because solving the problems would mean taking responsibility, and that she won't do. It's easier to blame the world than to look in the mirror. You've probably noticed that all these phrases have something in common. They transfer responsibility. They distort reality. They drain your energy. And most importantly, they put you in an impossible position to win. They are tests that have no right answer. They are psychological traps disguised as communication. And what's your typical reaction? You try to argue rationally. You show facts, evidence, logic. Error number 1, you're playing chess while she's flipping the board. Logic doesn't work because her goal isn't to resolve, It's to destabilize. The more you argue, the more defensive you seem. The more you explain yourself, the more guilty you appear. Or perhaps you make error number 2. You apologize even when you've done nothing wrong. You give in to appease. I just want peace, you think. But every time you give in, you confirm her narrative. You validate the distortion. And worse, you train her to use these tactics because they work. Error number 3 is the most common. You ignore the signs. This will pass. You convince yourself. She's stressed. It's just a phase. But patterns are not phases. They are structures. And ignoring traffic signs doesn't make the road safer. It only increases the speed of impact when you inevitably crash. Error number 4 is the most costly. You invest more. If I try harder, she'll see my worth. If I prove I'm different, she'll change. You double down on a losing hand. It's the sunk cost fallacy in action. I've already invested so much. I can't give up now. But you don't fill a hole by digging deeper. And error number 5, the most pathetic. You seek her validation after every criticism. Did I do it right now? Are you happy? Did I improve? You hand over your power on a silver platter. She becomes the thermometer of your self-esteem. Your worth comes to depend on her mood. And that is the death of your masculinity. But there is a protocol, a way to get off this road before it's too late. First step, recognize the pattern. Identify which of the 6 phrases is being used. Name it mentally. This is gaslighting. This is victimization. This is emotional blackmail. Naming is the first act of resistance. It's reclaiming control of the narrative. Second step, maintain your frame and detachment. Don't react emotionally. Don't justify yourself. Respond calmly. Or better yet, respond with a question that shifts the responsibility back. She says, "You never listened to me." You respond, "What specifically made you feel that I didn't listen?" No sarcasm, no aggressiveness, just genuine curiosity. Observe how this disarms the generalization. Third step, communicate clear boundaries. I understand you're frustrated, but generalizations don't help solve anything. If you want to talk about something specific, I'm here. Direct, no beating around the bush, no apologizing for having boundaries. You're not asking permission. You're stating how you operate. Fourth step, apply consequences. If she continues the pattern after you've set the boundary, withdraw your attention. It's not punishment. It's self-preservation. I'm going to give you some time to calm down. We'll talk later, and leave. Physically, emotionally, leave the situation. It's not running away. It's refusing to participate in a game where the rules are dishonest. Fifth step, the hardest. Consider permanent distancing. If the patterns persist, if boundaries are constantly disrespected, if you are always on the defensive, always justifying yourself, always apologizing for existing, it's time to take another road, completely, without looking in the rearview mirror. I know what you're thinking, but I love her. I can't just leave. Let me ask you a question. Would you love a person who constantly diminishes you, manipulates you, makes you doubt yourself? Or are you loving an idealized version of her that only exists in your head? Love without respect isn't love. It's disguised emotional dependency. Or maybe you think, this seems too radical. I don't want to be the guy who gives up easily. But there's a difference between giving up on a genuine challenge and protecting yourself from a destructive pattern. Genuine challenges strengthen the relationship. Toxic patterns corrode it. Learn the difference or pay the price in installments of sanity. And if you're thinking, maybe I'm misinterpreting, let me tell you about patterns. An isolated incident is a point. 2 incidents are a line. 3 or more is a pattern. If you're hearing these phrases regularly, it's not interpretation, it's reality. Trust your intuition. It evolved for millions of years to keep you alive. Use it. The most common objection is fear. I'm afraid of being alone if I apply these boundaries. But think, would you rather be alone or be with someone who makes you feel alone? Do you prefer honest solitude or toxic company? And more, do you really believe there's no one else in the world besides her? That's a scarcity mindset. And scarcity attracts desperation, which attracts manipulation. The last objection. The most dangerous. But she has a good heart. maybe she'll change. Potential doesn't pay emotional bills. You can't love someone for who she could be. You deal with who she is now. And genuine change doesn't come from your insistence. It comes from her decision to change. You're not a therapist. It's not your job to fix anyone. I'll tell you something no one wants to admit. Modern men have been emotionally castrated. We've been taught that setting boundaries is being insensitive, that demanding respect is being sexist, that valuing our time and energy is selfishness. A lie. Having standards is not being cruel. It's having self-love. And without self-love, you have nothing to offer in a relationship besides desperation disguised as devotion. These 6 phrases are symptoms of something bigger. They are indicators of a worldview where she is always the victim, you are always to blame, and the relationship is a battleground where only she can win. And the tragedy is that many women who use these phrases are not consciously malicious. They learned these patterns. It worked before. It will continue to work as long as men like you keep accepting it. But today, that changes. Today, you've learned to read the signs. Today, you've understood that it's not your responsibility to teach adults how to communicate healthily. It's not your job to absorb toxicity, hoping that one day she'll get tired of being toxic. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your sanity, your time, your energy, your future. Think about how much time you've already lost trying to decipher contradictory messages. How many sleepless nights trying to figure out where you went wrong when there was no error. How much wasted energy trying to fill a bottomless pit. Now multiply that by another 5-10 years. That's your future if you don't act now. The cost of ignoring these signs is not abstract. It's concrete. It's waking up every day with anxiety. It's checking your phone in fear of the next crisis. It's walking on eggshells in your own home. It's losing friends because you're always dealing with her drama. It's watching professional opportunities pass by because you're emotionally exhausted. It's looking in the mirror and not recognizing who you've become, trying to be good enough for someone who will never be satisfied. But there's also the other side. Imagine waking up in peace. Imagine a relationship where you can be yourself without fear of judgment, where your efforts are recognized, not dismissed, where discussions are productive, not destructive, where you are a partner, not a defendant. This exists, but not while you're stuck on a road that only leads to a cliff. The choice is binary. Either you continue on the same road, magically hoping it will turn into something else, paying the price in installments of suffering whose interest you can't even calculate, or you take the next exit, even if it seems scary, even if you don't know exactly where you're going, but knowing that any place is better than the current destination. You don't have to be another Raphael, trying to prove you're different until you lose your own identity. You don't have to be another Lucas, doubting your own reality until you need therapy to rebuild your sanity. You don't have to be another Tiago, sacrificing your future to feed the drama of someone who will never be satisfied. You can choose differently. Now, today, at this moment. The next time you hear one of these 6 phrases, you'll know what it really means. You'll understand the game being played. And more importantly, you'll have the courage not to play. Because in the end, that's the only possible victory in this game. Not to play, not to participate, not to feed it. To leave the table while you still have chips, while you still have sanity, while you still have time. Every day you postpone this decision is another day of compound interest on suffering. Every excuse you make for her is one less excuse you have for yourself. Every time you accept the unacceptable, you redefine your standard downward. And eventually, your standard will be so low that any crumb of affection will seem like a feast. Don't let it get to that point. Don't be another statistic of a man who lost the best years of his life, trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved, trying to fix someone who doesn't think she's broken, trying to prove your worth to someone who has already decided you'll never be enough. Tomorrow, you will wake up. And either you wake up in the same psychological prison as today, preparing for another day of emotional warfare, walking on eggshells, measuring every word so as not to cause the next explosion. Or you wake up free, free to build, to grow, to relate to someone who sees you as a partner, not an adversary. The choice is yours. It always has been. But now you can't say you didn't know. Now you know the signs. You've seen the flags. You understand the destination. If you choose to stay on the same road after today, it's no longer ignorance. It's a conscious choice of self-destruction. Reclaim your frame. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your life. Start today. Start now. Start with the next interaction. When she throws one of these phrases, you'll be prepared. Not to fight, but to refuse to participate in the war. Because the only way to win this game is not to let them make a pawn out of you. What you've lived until today has brought you here, but it doesn't have to take you to tomorrow. You can change your route now. You can take another road, one where you drive with your headlights on, reading the signs, respecting the signals, arriving where you want to arrive, not where others' drama takes you. Comment now, which of these 6 phrases you've heard? What was your cost? Share this with that friend you know needs to hear it. The one who is living this now and can't name it. The one who is paying the price and thinking it's an investment. Save him. Save yourself. Start now.